Project Chevelle. It's a 72 Chevelle Malibu that we bought as a stone stalker with a 307 column shift and drum brakes. We modified it with a new suspension, brakes, drivetrain, and a big 383 from Blueprint Engines. But like most car guys, we just can't leave anything alone. So we replaced it with a freshened up junkyard LS that made 500 horsepower. So, welcome to the next phase of Project Chevelle. This is Zach. He's been around cars his whole life and is a big part of the Project Chevelle team. Today we talk about our LS swap and go for a drive. So the big question is, why would we take a perfectly good 420 horsepower 383 out of the Chevelle and swap an LS into it?
Well, my philosophy, if it's not broke, break it.
And we didn't break it. It's sitting over there on the floor. It's waiting for its next car.
The 383 was great, and I thought that was as good as it's going to get. Like, it was the perfect combination of horsepower, torque, reliability. You know, it was easy to drive. It was fun to drive.
Philosophy that I have when it comes to this car is to treat it like a project car, where if it's just sitting here in the shop unchanged, it's not doing anybody any good.
Right.
So I think of it like Project X, you know, the yellow 57 that, you know, 30 engines in it or whatever over the course of its life, you know. And they did it to learn things about, you know, this new thing came out, we're gonna put it in this car and try it out. It had small blocks, it had big blocks, and so on. So you can't argue that LS swaps are popular. You know, we wanted to try it.
And to be honest, a lot of people want to do that. I mean, everybody asks, what do you need to do to put it in? Lots of people already know, because the LS engine is, you know, over 20 years old already, which is kind of crazy to think about. Lots of people are still interested in doing it. I mean, and the LS engine has progressed a lot. It's kind of like a small block. You know, in 1955, a 265 was great, but by 1970, a 265 was old news. Who would want that? You know, they might as well have a 350 making 370 horsepower or something like that by that time.
And that's part of the point of this car, is for us to do things and sort of learn things that we can pass along to a customer that might be doing the same thing, you know. And in the course of doing this, we come up with some new products that, you know, hey, wouldn't it be easier if we had, you know, the front drive, for example, wouldn't it be easier if we could do this front drive in a certain way?
Right, and I mean, you actually have your hands on it. We think we know a lot about all the parts that we have, and we do, but this is how we figured that out. You know, we come back here and actually take parts off the shelf and put them on cars and go through the same thing everybody else might go through when you're building something. You know, sometimes you have to, you know, modify a part to make it work. And we're showing people what it really takes to do that, and that's pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah, we could sit here and talk about it all day. We probably better go drive it around.
We're gonna need some new tires.
It is hard. It's really hard to lift with this thing. You know, it just keeps pulling and you just don't want to let it go. You know, we may have put an LS1 in it with a computerized fuel injection, but we still have an AM radio. That's what's important here, right? You know, and we talked about this a lot with the 383. You know, this Tremec is pretty sweet. You know, your anything is better than that shift in the Saginaw on the column.
Oh my God, that was not good. I mean, that's fine for, you know, cruising to the grocery store, like what this car was meant for.
Right. But yeah, this was a family car. You know, Daryl hauled his kids around in this thing. You know,
people didn't go 80 miles an hour down the interstate when this car was built. I mean, I don't know, 55 or 60 was probably cruising speed then.
But this thing will now, with an overdrive and a 389 gear, it just lays down and goes 80 down the road, you know?
Right, yeah.
So, you know, I like the car with the 383 in it. I like the car with an LS in it. It's been really interesting to be able to compare the two. And
yeah, who gets to do that? You know, we did a swap in a real short amount of time. I mean, it had a small block in it, and you drove it 1,000 miles or whatever it was, and then a couple of weeks later, you're going down the drag strip
with an LS in it. So who knows what's next? You know, I'd like to know what an LS does when you put a turbo on it. I always like the idea of a big block Chevelle. You know, so who knows what we'll do next. Want more details on our LS swap? Check out the LS Swap Tech article in the toolbox at speedwaymotors.com.